like?
Two sides, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Two sides every day. I finished in 7 years.
Wow.
My brother was not doing that young, maybe he was going much faster than that. My genius older brother, he was trying to go through the entire shots within 1 year for my father's yard site. So he did it. He had 250 pages dafim to learn in a week, but he was slow and he was busy. But he learned 250, two sides, and they weren't easy. And he didn't learn it just like, reading. He went with all the Rashi and the Tosfot, both sides of all the commentaries in 1 week. Yeah, he's pretty smart. Takes after his father. I take after my mother. Okay, let's see the Mishnah. Yes, what's your first name again? Hebrew. Leah?
Really?
Leah?
Wow.
Nice name.
I didn't know it.
How did Leah fit with Amy?
I'm named after someone called Leia. That's just, it doesn't.
Okay, Leah's a very special person. Leah Yimena. What's your name again?
Shira.
Shira. Shira, there are two names, no? Miriam Shira.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your name again is?
Shina.
I like that name. It's a beautiful name. And Vissel? What's your name again? Rivka. Beautiful names. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You got the Mishnah? So let's see the second page. First page is the Gemara Yaakov. Here's the second page. We actually did it last week, but let's start it again. Hold on. I got the first one. Something's wrong over here.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
In with this job, do you ever be part of like someone's teacher or someone's daily learning?
Not really. I mean, the Babich never took on
So
this
it's
stuff.
not about custom?
No.
So what would it?
Nothing wrong with it. It's nice. If it gives you, if you have a chayit and it gives you a inspiration, why not?
Why isn't it?
Because it's sometimes a person can't keep to a stage there unless it's vital to your neshama, like Shitas. The Rebbe said, person wants to learn something that he enjoys, and some people don't always enjoy to be stuck to learning, a certain page that you don't really enjoy that much, or you find it very difficult. Okay, let's see the Mishnah. You see the first page. First page. I did it last week. It says Mishnah, Mishnah. You got it? Everyone follows?
Sorry, do you remember the compliment?
Of course. My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, I have the original. Here's the original. This is the original. I got it too. Okay, this is the Art Scroll original. Does a very good job. And yeah. Got the Mishnah. You see the bottom of the top side of the page before the notes. It says Mishnah. Everyone have it? Just as we spoke earlier in this chapter, that there's wronging in buying and selling, like overcharging. You know the rules of the overcharging? You charge more than a sixth of the price of the going price. More than a sixth, the whole sale is undone, is invalidated. You don't want to do that. Or if you underpaid more than a sixth, which is like 70%, around 1/6, like 17% roughly. If it's exactly 1/6, you get a refund, but the sale is not to be overturned. If it's less than a sixth, you're not allowed to do that. But if you did that, you don't lose anything. In other words, the sale remains, and you don't give back. There's no refund either. That's what we learned earlier with a lot of details. Yes, Bailey.
I've been wondering last class, could someone take someone to Basin over this?
Over what?
Like overcharging by more than
Yeah,
a
of
sixth?
course.
Does that ever happen?
I don't know. I'm not involved in business. I really can't tell you. Not so much. There's other kinds of fraud that goes on. But there's a whole chapter for this. The name of the chapter is Hazov, called the gold exchanged with silver. It starts with that, and it gets into a lot of different monetary issues, including defrauding in monetary issues. And now we're talking about something more at home, verbal, hurting people with your mouth, with the words you say to them. And the Mishnah gives 4 examples. Let's see the Mishnah. Let's see the examples. So just as there's wronging in buying and selling, kach ono bitvarim. So there's also wronging with words. take a look at the footnote 8 in the bottom. The term onah literally means defrauding or treating wrongfully. You see the footnote 8? One commits onah, that's the Hebrew word for defrauding, when he wrongs another, either through ona'at mamon, monetary wronging, or through ona'at dvorim, that's the word verbal wronging. Example, insulting, embarrassing, deceiving, harassing, chastising. Thus far, we have discussed onah in business, overcharging or underpaying. Now we're getting into ona'at dvorim, verbal wronging. The Mishnah proceeds to list examples of verbal wronging, verbal harassment. One example number one. One should not say to someone, "Lo yomala bekama chaypetzeh." One at a store, and the one who's behind the counter is the actual owner of the store. Not this guy who's working there doesn't care about the store's success, but the owner. And you ask him, "Ooh, this bracelet is. What do you charge for it?" And he's getting, "Oh, I have a customer." He's getting excited, and you put it down. Now, the reason why you even asked was not because you had any intention of buying it. You had no intention of buying it. And it's almost like, just want to cause the guy, you're not interested in the person and his business. You're interested in just playing around. And when you put it down, you don't tell the guy, "I never had in mind to buy it," because you're embarrassed to say that. That's not normal. It's not decent. You keep quiet. What does keeping quiet sound like? "Oh, the price was too high. It's not worth it." So the next customer hears, "Not worth it. I won't buy it either." So here's the worst case. Here, you're not only hurting the person verbally, you're also could be ruining his business. So that's the first example where you're doing both things. Verbally wronging, and you could also cause the person a loss of a customer. That's the first example, which is the worst of all, in a way, because it has two wrongings. Yes.
Okay, so if I do alterations, I'm a seamstress. If someone comes to me, gets ideas for how to do alterations, and then goes to someone cheaper, would that be like, if they went, "Oh, good idea. Never mind. I actually like the dress how it is." And then they go to someone else much cheaper.
Did you expect them to be your customer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be. It might be a good example. I don't know if you can tell them off, but it might be a good example. I just had also someone with me also. I just had that. I teach Chassanim, guy who made a date already, went to start. Doesn't even call me back. Oh, I call him. Are we up? Are we on? No, I found someone else. I don't think I'm bad. I think I'm pretty good. I don't brag. I said, "Well, you could have called me at least. I have other people waiting. You could have called me." Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you. That's in a way that would be defrauding also. In this case, mental guy, not decent. Expecting, and I need it. I don't do it for free. I'm expecting, and not only that, it can also cause me a loss of money because I had to postpone another guy who could come because a slot was taken. So there are people who don't have mental cut, There's another kind. I'll tell you something that happens very often. You ever talk with somebody and you have a good conversation? Someone just butts in without even saying "excuse me" and just takes over the conversation and almost like goodbye. That's a good example also. People who do that, they don't mean to be hurt, but it's very hurtful. And the other guy, also dismisses you, or the other girl, whoever it is. Ever have that in your life? You're talking to someone, and a third person just intervenes. You're like you don't exist. Who are you? You talk to that guy, he doesn't count, or she doesn't count. Talk to me. Excuse me, say, "Excuse me, I'm so sorry, excuse me. I want to ask the person something." No problem. People do that all the time.
Yeah,
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very wrong. So here the Gemara is giving you a little bit of derech eretz. It's a very interesting Gemara. This is the Mishnah, actually, not the Gemara. Okay. Lo yomalo bekama chaypetzeh, but you have no intention of buying it. Number two. Number two is more personal. Im hoya bal tshuva, if someone was a bal tshuva and his early part of life, or her early part of life was not so kosher, did the wrong things, especially if that person knew what was wrong and still did it, went off the derech or something like that. If someone was penitent, that's a bal tshuva. One should not say to him or her, remember what you used to do. There's a story in Gemara, also in Bava Metzia, 30 pages later, where Rabbi Yochanan tells Reish Lakish, who used to be a pirate, and you know the story of Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish? You don't know the story? Great. Well, I'm telling stories no one knows. So Reish Lakish was he was a bandit, he was a pirate, he was involved in a big, strong guy. He used to make acrobatic jumps. And he sees Rabbi Yochanan, who didn't have a beard never grew, and he had a face, a radiant face, beautiful face. And from far looked like a woman. So Reish Lakish is running, you see, wow, pretty woman. He's running, and he gets a little disappointed, and he gets this major jump. And Rabbi Yochanan says, whoa. What power, what energy? You got to use your energy for Torah learning. You should, he knew he was Jewish. I don't know how, but he knew he was Jewish. Some say that Reish Lakish once upon a time learned and went off the derech and became, went completely off. And Rabbi Yochanan knew that, and he said, there's such energy you have to use for Torah. And he said, wow, such beauty. Rabbi Yochanan, you think I'm good looking? I have a sister. She's better looking than me. If you become a Baal Tshuva, I will let you marry her. And it worked. He did marry her. And the moment he made this resolution of becoming a Baal Tshuva, he had no strength anymore. He couldn't jump. The emotional, spiritual, not trauma, but energy that he put into his resolve weakened him physically. But he got weaker. He couldn't do the same jumps. Anyways, later on in life, when Rabbi Yochanan loved Reish Lakish, he was the only one who was asking the greatest questions, and he sharpened Rabbi Yochanan's mind. And the story goes that Rabbi Yochanan said to him, it was a shaila that in order to understand the answer to this question, in halacha, you have to have been involved in thievery. And Reish Lakish gave an answer. Whoa, now I see your thievery came to, what you did in the past has come to you, has come to the rescue. It has helped you. But in the meanwhile, he's mentioning about his past. And you're not allowed to do that. So how would Rabbi Yochanan, how was he allowed to tell Reish Lakish, remember your old days? The answer is because he was telling him, wow, it's incredible. You're using the energy that you did to do wrong, and now you're using all that energy and knowledge for Torah. So he wasn't trying to hurt him, on the contrary, he's trying to lift him up. So if the person tells about Tshuva, wow, I remember what you did, and you made a complete 180. That's different. But the person just says, you remember what you did? Don't tell me off. You know who you were. That's what we're talking about. Yes.
How would you, I know it's not take care of this, but if someone does say that to you, and like they're just meaning it in like a very docile way, they don't mean to, they don't necessarily know.
Okay, you might not be violating it, but you got to be, willingly, but you're violating it unintentionally. It's also
Yeah, like someone who says like, oh, remember when you were like someone who, like, how do you respond to that?
How do you what?
Respond to that, or like, and generally make you feel sad.
Or like if someone asks, like, oh, what was it like when you would do X, Y, and Z in like a
Well, that's
really
different.
intrusive
Yeah, I
way?
think that's different.
Oh, okay.
That's different.
That's like.
But a person, if you ask what should be your response to a person, you could tell the person, I don't think it's right you to do this. Actually, a violation of Jewish law. You can show the Mishnah, above the kid, 58b. You don't believe me? By the way, I want to show you something.
When I get home and people say,
Take
I'm
a
gonna be like,
I want to show you something, Liat.
Yeah.
Take a look at the first page again, at the original page. You notice? I can't really see it so clearly. You notice on the side of the page, let's see what's here. Yeah, on the right side over here. Here's Mashu. You'll see Ein Mishpat Ner Mitzvah. You know what that is? Any Gemara, where is the source in Shulchan Aruch? What the Gemara is saying. The Shulchan Aruch gets it from the Gemara. So which part of Shulchan Aruch, of the Code of Jewish Law, discusses the law of our Mishnah? And you'll see it says what?
again, slower.
I will say it much slower. On the side of the page, it says Ein Mishpat.
And it gets, the Shulchan Aruch gets it from the Gemara, or the Gemara gets it from the
Shulchan Aruch gets it from the Shulchan Aruch is way after the Gemara. Shulchan Aruch was written by Rabbi Yosef Karo, who lived 100 years ago. The Gemara was almost 1,500 years ago, 1,000 years earlier. You'll see on top, I don't know if you can read it. If you can read it, you got to be really special. See this? I can hardly read it. It says tiny words, Mem Yud Yud, down from Maimonides. You see that?
Mhm.
You want to know where it's in Maimonides? It's Perek Yudawad, the laws of Mechira, Halacha Yud Beis. Then it says Smag, it's another posek. Then it says see where it says Tusha. I don't know if you can read Rashi's script. Third line, Tes Vav Shin Ayin. That's Rashi's script. Tur and Shulchan Aruch. And it tells you exactly where to look it up. Anyways, I just wanted to let you know that on the side of every Gemara page, you have references where in Shulchan Aruch can you find this halacha in Gemara, both in the Rambam and in Shulchan Aruch. You know this? Not everyone knows this.
Wait, but once they add that to the Gemara, the Shulchan Aruch came about, when they started printing, like,
When did what?
when did they add?
Yeah, later on, much later, of course. Yeah, obviously, the first Gemaras didn't happen, not all that. Later on, a couple hundred years ago, maybe. Yeah.
Like, let's say someone's not super learned and referencing Shulchan Aruch or Gemara or Mishnah is not going to really tap into their brain at all. But you also don't want to embarrass them because they aren't learned and because they did something to embarrass you. If referencing won't work, what would you recommend?
Well, how would you like it if I would do this to you? Find something that, I would never do it, but that would make you feel horrible, wouldn't it? Sometimes a person needs to experience, in order to empathize with someone else, you have to experience it yourself.
Okay. Let's say the person next to you is a bear and someone's asking everyone is your mother Jewish? Is your mother Jewish?
Yeah.
And you know that the next person will be very embarrassed.
Yeah.
So you want to stop it before it gets to them, but you don't want to embarrass the person asking the question.
Right.
So, would it be embarrassing just to say, it's actually against the law to ask?
It depends who people are. I don't know. Every person thinks it differently. I don't know if there's one answer for that. Most of your questions are, it depends. Well, what are you looking at?
לא, אני אומרת, אפשר, she can start to say something different and all the,
Yeah,
סליחה,
okay, you can start change the subject.
yeah,
Change the
this
subject.
is what I do.
What was the
You're smart.
Yeah, or start
Okay.
to say something.
Shit, iron?
Yeah, tough test Vav Shin I means Tur, this Shulchan Aruch. Not too many girls know this. Let's go weiter. You know what weiter means? Let's go further. I threw a Yiddish word. Let's go weiter. Let's weitergegangen. Hala, namshich, hala, weitergegangen. It's in Yiddish. Did I give the class in Yiddish?
No.
Please.
It sure can feel like the box.
Yeah.
So back to English. The next parts. Hold on a second. Yes. Okay, that's number one. Number two, you should not tell about Tshuva what he used to do, what he or she used to do. Lo yom lo zechor ma'aseh harishonim. Imu ben gerim, if someone was descended, and not a ger, a descendant from a ger or a georis, lo yom lo zechor ma'aseh harishonim. Don't say to that person, remember the deeds of your forefathers, of your father, of your ancestors. Shenamar, for it is stated, how do we know that? You're not allowed to do that. Shenamar, the ger lo soneh, and you shall not wrong or oppress a proselyte, wronging or oppressing one in money matters, even though it applies to all Jews, but there's an extra violation if you do it to a ger. You violate, I will mention later, a whole bunch of violations if you do this to a ger, more than for any other Jew. So the Torah is very careful about the honor and the dignity of a ger or georis. Okay. Now, the question we asked last week, why when it comes to a ger, do we not mention to the ger about his own past? We say, remember what your parents did. But about Tshuva, we say what you did. And about a ger, we don't say, remember what you did, but rather remember who your parents are. And that's how we embarrass him or insult him. So the answer we gave two answers last week. Bailey guessed the Pnei Yeshua's answer. The first answer we gave was not your answer, was a different answer, was from one Maharsha, one of the commentaries on the Gemara, Maharsha. And he says that it's not hurtful to tell a ger, remember all the Averas you did. It wasn't an Avera. On the contrary, you're praising this person. Yes, what I did was perfectly okay when I wasn't Jewish. I didn't keep Shabbos. I wasn't supposed to keep Shabbos. And now I didn't have to. I was a good person, a good righteous Gentile, and yet I decided to convert. So you really haven't insulted me, harassed me. You just gave me a compliment. That's the Marsha. But about Tshuva, whether even if what he did was because he or she did not know any better, you were brought up in a home that you had no upbringing, no Jewish background upbringing. But still, it's still embarrassing to know that you did all these wrong things. Because you had an obligation, you were commanded to keep Shabbos, and you didn't know about that. Especially if you did know about that and you went off the derech, then it's even a bigger insult. So you should never say that. Okay, that's one answer. The other answer that Bailey gave was the thing Yeshua says, a ger becomes a new person. The person's past is completely erased. It's not the same person anymore. So there is no past. In fact, he says, if Yeshua says, that being the case, then when you say, remember what your father was a ger, that person also has a past that's gone. So he said it means the grandfather. Don't tell a ger, you know where your father comes from? Your grandfather wasn't Jewish. And that's hurtful also. Even though you're talking about the grandfather 2 generations earlier, that's also hurtful for the person who did not go through Gavus. I didn't go through Gavus. I was born Jewish. My father was Jewish. My father was I was born Jewish. So that you didn't really have Mesiras Nefesh because you were born Jewish, and you're insulting this person's grandparent. That's how the Pnei Yeshua learns this Mishnah. But anyway, it's interesting. I want to go to the Gemara, if you don't mind. Okay? So, because we're so limited in time. Let's see the Gemara. See what it says? Gemara? Gemara. What does Gemara mean? Anyone remember? Gemara? Yeah. It also means Gemor, means finish. But nothing is finished when you learn the Mishnah because we don't understand the Mishnah. The Mishnah is very concise. The Gemara takes apart the Mishnah. So like, finished product. Or some say Gemara has a different meaning. It means we deriving. Gemara means to derive. Gemara, derive, language, derive. Gemara, lehotzi din. But the English said derive. You learn English in the class.
Yeah, I know.
Tanu Rabbanon. It's a Hebrew, that's Aramaic. Tanu zekimo shalu. Tanu Rabbanon. The rabbis taught in a brisa. Lo tonu ishas hamiso. The Torah states, and a man shall not wrong his fellow. That's not talking about monetary fraud. But onat varim makosa medaber. Oh, wait a second. Hold on a second. You know what? Something's missing here. Hold on a second. Just a second. What is going on over here? There's another part of the Mishnah that is missing here. No, my mistake. My mistake. I put it in the Mishnah. Okay. So Gemara says, when it says those words in the Chumash, lo tonu ishas hamiso, do not wrong, one should not wrong his fellow Jew. It's referring to verbal harassment, verbal wronging. B'dibur. Ata omer, you say, bonat varim, maybe it means monetary fraud. How do you know there's such a concept called verbal wronging? Maybe only money, or not mammon. Do you indeed say that this verse deals with verbal wronging? How do you know? Oh, I know, perhaps it is, but not mammon. Perhaps this verse we just quoted is rather dealing with monetary wronging, price fraud. How do I know it's talking about verbal wronging? The Gemara answers because we already know price fraud from a different passage. When it says earlier in the Chumash, if you sell something to your fellow, or you buy from your fellow, one person, one man shall not wrong the other, his brother. So we know about that. Hare onat mamon amor. Behold, from this very verse, we know wronging in monetary matters is already mentioned. So why would the Torah repeat the same thing again? Now then, do I explain the verse, and the man shall not wrong his fellow? How then should I explain this passage? It's redundant. The answer is, it must be telling you a different kind of wronging, a verbal harassment, chastising, hurting, fraud, defrauding. It must deal with a verbal wronging, not with money matters. Okay, so here we get all the examples. If someone was a person was a Baal Tshuva, so now the Gemara is repeating what it says in the Mishnah, but with more details. Al yomer lo zechor ma'aseh rishonim. Do not tell the person, remember your old past deeds. Im hoya ben Gaden. Now here's interesting. If someone was a descendant from the proselytes, al yomer lo zechor ma'aseh v'secha. Now here's another one. We already said before that it's not considered a insult to tell a ger what the ger used to do, with one exception, with food that a person ate. So if a person wants to learn Torah and your mouth, you ate all the trade food. Now the trade food is still in your body, still part. What you eat becomes part of you. So that is different than not keeping Shabbos or some other halakha, which is not part of you. But eating has much more to do with the person. Whoever once responded to us to a Baal Tshuva, who said, I feel horrible, I can't live with myself because I have in my system all the trade food I ate. I ate everything when I was growing up. So the Rebbe said, by getting other people to keep kosher, you're removing that pagam, it will take away that damage that your soul was hurt through the food you ate. Because food even if you ate it, not knowing, still part of you. Much different than any other Avera. So here the Gemara gives an example, the Brisa gives an example, even with a ger, it's hurtful to tell a ger, all the food you ate, what you eat is what you are. Im hayager, one second. Im hayager of Torah. If someone was a proselyte, a ger who came to study Torah, al yor malo, don't tell him pesha ochal, a mouth that ate nivelot. That's nivela is a kosher animal that was not slaughtered properly. Treif, an animal that was perhaps slaughtered, but the animal was sick before it was slaughtered and could not live. That's called treif. Treif doesn't mean what you think treif means. We call chaver treif. Really, the word treif in the language of Chumash means an animal that was attacked, was injured, fatally injured, and then you kill that animal. Even if you slaughter the animal ritually, it still remains non-kosher. That's called treif. Nevela, what's nevela? Killed it with a improper shechita, or you didn't no shechita. A healthy animal, but you shot the animal instead of shechting, or you shechted it wrong. That's called nevela. How do you call chazer? Tameh. A tummy animal. So there's nevela, there's treifa, and there's tummy. Nevelot or treifot, this is vermin and all crawling creatures. In China they eat everything. And the guy used to be Chinese before he converted, and he ate all the garbage, mamish, all the. You want to learn Torah? Huh?
I eat cricket.
Okay. Well, you have to apologize. Do you now want to learn Torah that was communicated by the mouth of the Almighty? Your mouth is filthy. Don't want to say that. That's forbidden. So the Brisa is adding to the Mishnah. The Mishnah didn't mention this case. The Brisa is expanding on the Mishnah. The Brisa is not from the Gemara sages, from the Mishnah sages. But it's Brisa, the word Brisa means bar. What they learned informally outside of the Beis HaMedrash. The Mishnah is formal learning. Betoch Misgeret shel Beit HaMedrash. Need to be bored. And then they show signs of what are you talking about? It's not mine.
לא, אני כן. אני מקשיבה.
מה אתה שומעים ממני? מה אתה רוצה?
לא, אני מקשיבה.
My wife. The Brisa is outside, unofficial, outside of the Beis Medrash, elaboration on the Mishnah. And the same sages talked about what the Mishnah said in more detail. That's what word Brisa means. Bar yeta. Bar means outside, like barring in English. Yaita, bring it out. Come out. Let's expand on the Mishnah. Okay. You're going to come learn the Torah that was said from the mouth of the Almighty. Next example. If a person is going through, like Job, Eve went through, whatever. So he went through, lost all his possessions. He was a rich man, lost everything. And then he had his children died. He was suffering with horrific pains and illnesses that no one can tolerate. You want to talk about the most suffering, give the example of Eve. It's used in conversation. The guy suffered almost like Eve. So Eve was like, can't take it anymore. He had some friends. One of them, his name was Eliphaz. This week's parsha, Esau's son was Eliphaz. I don't know why the guy would name someone, why someone have the name Eliphaz. And Eliphaz says to him, put kerosene on the fire. The guy is suffering and his mom is going crazy. He can't take it anymore. What would you do? What's the normal thing to do? Comfort him. What did he do? Just the opposite. If a person has had suffering visited upon him, or if someone had diseases visited upon him, someone was bearing his children, one should not say to him in the way that the colleagues of Eov, of Job, said to him. What did they say to him? What are you complaining about? What do you expect? Hello, Yirascha. Could not your fear, Yirascha, Kislev. Remember, I spoke about Kislev. Kislev. What does it mean again? What does Kislev mean? You don't remember? Class? Bitachon. Hello, Yirascha. If you would have been a real Yirah Shamayim, you really would have had God fearing, that would have been your hope. Hello, Yirascha, which you obviously lack. You obviously lack Yirah Shamayim, because your fear would have given you hope. Tikvasecha. Hello, Yirascha, Kislev. And Tikvasecha. Could not your fear of Hashem have given you confidence, your hope? V'tom drachecha, and the integrity of your ways. You would have been not suffering. Zechorna, please, I want you to remember, who is the innocent, which innocent person that was ever lost without a trace? Find me one person who was a tzaddik and suffers like you did. Tzaddikim do suffer, we would find that. But like you, nobody. There's something wrong. You got to do tshuva. The guy is half dead already. That's what you tell him? Now, they meant L'Shem Shamayim because they felt that he was like blaming God. He was losing it. But they meant it L'Shem Shamayim, but that was very wrong. That's not how you react to a person who's suffering. Who says you're so perfect? Don't tell a person, it's very easy to say when you're not going through the same thing. You have to empathize. You have to speak with empathy. That's another example. Just by the way, what's not mentioned here in this brisa, but it's mentioned in the Rambam and also the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch. The Alter Rebbe also has something on this subject. Here's the example. Don't ask a teacher a question he doesn't know the answer, because you embarrass the teacher. If you know for sure, and your kavanah is, I want to show him off. Not that you're trying to, you really want to know the answer and you're not sure. No, you really know this guy doesn't have any idea about this subject. I'm going to ask him on this subject. There's Gemara about this. Why do you have to ask me on a subject I don't know? Rabbi responds. Why are you asking me? Why are you trying to to embarrass me? Sometimes it's out of modesty, out of being humble, but sometimes it's true. The guy it's not his expertise. So that's also a case of, it's not mentioned here. That's not mentioned here. There are a lot of other examples that are not mentioned here. Let's call it another one. Here's a more of a business thing, but it's not. No one's losing any money really. Here's the next one. If donkey drivers were seeking in search of work, you want to transfer grain, you want to transfer some produce, grain, and they need to know any customer who would like to have grain transferred. So if, let's say, donkey drivers were seeking in search of work, grain from someone so that they could transport it, don't tell, you want to have a job? Go to this place. This guy is full. He has a lot. And he doesn't have anything. So you're hurting two people, actually. You're hurting the person, you're hurting the person because he feels uncomfortable that they're going to him and he can't. I don't have grain. And he's embarrassed. And you're also hurting the donkey drivers, wasting their time. Do not say to them, go to so-and-so whom you know does not sell grain. And when he knows that this person never sold grain in his life. That's another way, another defrauding, even though you're not really hurting anyone monetarily, perhaps, but it's certainly fooling someone. Sending him on a wild goose chase to a place where wasted his time. I mean, that could also be money too. Waste time is also worth something. Rabbi Yehuda says, here's Rabbi Yehuda. Now, Rabbi Yehuda says something that's a little bit different than the Mishnah. He adds, it seems like he's adding not just verbal wronging. How much is the price of this, but even you going, looking at it, standing a long time, saying nothing. You're not asking for the price. That could also be a problem, even without verbally saying how much is the price, which is really showing you want to buy it. But if you're not saying it, the dibur, but you're acting, showing signs you want to buy it, it's also forbidden. And there's a whole dispute in halacha. Would we follow Rabbi Yehuda, or do we just follow what the Mishnah says, that only if you verbalize, only if you actually say it? There's a whole big dispute. What the Rambam says, whatever thing, I'm not gonna learn that, I'm not gonna get into that right now.
But
But there's a whole
sometimes,
big dispute in halacha, huh?
sometimes there is beautiful store and you want to see the store and you see everything, you can do it. If you don't
No,
mind.
I'm saying when you're showing signs, like you're really staying in a long time, like,
Keep going and looking and being like, wow, these shoes are great one day or something like that.
say that openly,
And going
You
to
say
someone-
that, that's on the contrary, then you feel good, you have a potential customer. But when you're looking at it and you're really making him feel that he has a customer, then you walk away. That's what it means. Again, it's only the owner of the store, not if some other, only the owner sees it and knows about it.
Last time we said window shop.
No, window shopping is, that's, today is Minhag Yisrael, Teredihi, and it's, it's understandable that, women love to do that. Men
Yeah.
can't tolerate it. It's Gehenna for a man to go with his wife. It's Gan Eden for her and Gehenna for him. Get ready for that. Don't ask your husband to ever go shopping with you.
When
Mhm.
men comes out to buy their wife's makeup, I am in awe.
Yeah.
It's
One
so,
of them, by the
they have
way.
no idea what they're doing, but they're trying their best.
Okay.
I want to own it, or even like a random clothing store. You'd also get excited if you're gonna buy something like a sale and make commission.
If it affects them, it doesn't affect them the same way, They're not gonna lose anything, They get their pay either way, they get their pay.
When they're working on commission.
Different story. Yeah, different story. Mostly don't, it's not commission, it's, you get paid for the hours you're working there. Okay. Right there. Really up to more, for after, right? Oh, yeah. Your time flies.
I want to take the clock down.
Okay. Now, we might want to think, but remember, after I lost the department, I always said, Ani Hashem Elokecha. Because you could always say, oh, I meant well. I didn't know that you didn't, I didn't know that you were, in all the cases of the example, you could possibly simply say, I didn't mean to hurt you, but Hashem knows your kavanah. So in fraud, everyone, in fraud, monetary matters we can see. You don't need a God to see it. When it comes to this, remember Hashem reads your thoughts. So don't try to get away with, I didn't mean it, when you did mean it. Okay, there's more to go. I believe next week is, what's next Friday? Next Friday is Kislev. I don't think there'll be a Gemara class next week. My guess is it won't be. And the week after is Hanukkah. I don't know what the story is, but I'd like to finish. So it's a long, it's a block and a half. You know what a block and a half by now means? 3 sides, a block and a half. Have a wonderful Travis.
Wait, can I ask mine?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so the one I was going to ask before was, so why would it embarrass the child of a ger to say something about their forefathers, like, because they have the best grandparents, Sarah and Abram Avinu?
But you're not going that far back.
No, but like the parents of the ger are Sarah and Abram Avinu.
Yeah.
So how is it?
That's the way, wait.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
נכון, אמרת שאסור, אם מישהו מוחה על כאילו על הקשיים שלו, על הקושי שלו, אסור להגיד לו אוקיי זה בסדר כאילו כזה, כאילו זה לא בסדר שאתה מוחה על זה.
עוד פעם?
אמרת שכאילו איוב, אז הוא בכה על הקושי שלו וחברים שלו אמרו לו כאילו לא יודעת מה אמרו לו, שכאילו זה לא למה אתה בוכה, למה אתה מתלונן על זה.
כן.
אוקיי, אז אם מישהו נגיד בוכה על משהו שהוא באמת לא כזה גדול.
לא משתתף. כוונה פה שאומר, נו, זה השם שלך.
זה מה?
It's your fault.
באשמתה
אם אמרו, מה אתה... ואני לפני הכל ברוך, אתה השם שלך. תעשה לך יום שמיים. לא?
כן, כן, כן.
אמרו, אתה לא יום שמיים, בגלל זה אתה סובל כל היצורים.
וואו, אוקיי.
Thank you for
תודה.
your patience with all the questions. I appreciate it.
Stop.
So,
Yeah, when we're out there, if you want to do it. If I did it again, I'd be like.
that's what I was thinking.
You said that again.